All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Mixtape Show, interviews with Legends podcast. And checking in this week, man, we have somebody who's been on the show a few times, and he was definitely somebody I wanted to bring back for this particular platform because we never have enough time to really go into a lot of this stuff, man, because his catalog and his history in hip hop is definitely important. So now we got the time and the space to do that, man. So I just want to welcome back Haas G, aka Fantom of the Beat, joining us here, the Mixtape
Peace,
Show interview.
peace. You
Peace,
know what it
King.
is. How
Peace,
you
King.
doing? Yes, peace, King. Peace back at you.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad you was able to do this, man. MJ, I reached out to her when I was putting the idea together and said I gotta have him back for this, and she was like, "I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a no-brainer, no problem." So I'm glad we
Oh
got to
yeah.
do this.
You didn't have to ask me twice, brothers.
There we go, man. And we was talking off air, man. I was out there in Brooklyn when Ghost was headlining the Brooklyn Collective, man, and I realized you was there after the fact. So I hate that I missed you, but like I said, I plan on being back soon. And when I do, I think I got your number, so I'll confirm off air and all that.
Definitely.
And we can definitely link up again for real, man.
There was a sea of people out there, bro. I mean, I could have ran into so many, but it was crowded out there. It was nice too for, you know what I mean? For the way they had set up, that event was kind of dope.
Yeah. It had a little rain, but it wasn't too bad. It was a little
Yeah.
sprinkle here and there, but it was a dope day. And that was my last night there back at home in New York to visit. So it was a good way to go out. You know what I'm saying?
Nice,
So,
nice.
Dope, man. So I definitely want to use this space to talk about like I said, you have a lot of history in the game, past, present, and future. You're working on some new stuff that we're gonna get into. And you've endured industry business stuff too, that if you want to talk about that, we can get into that. But
Cool.
definitely wanted to kind of start at the beginning, man, even before you even got involved professionally with the music, man. What was the soundtrack in your house like coming up? What were some of the songs that you can remember growing up and listening to on the radio?
I mean, to this day, what really made me was basically what we was listening to in the house. You know what I mean? My parents, my uncles, even grandma, she was on it. You know what I'm saying? So they play a slew of music. They're that generation before us. So, they were involved with their 70s music, their Smokey Robinsons, their their impressions, your Patti LaBelle's, from that era, Smokey Robinson. It was just a slew of different music, and Saturdays was one of those big music days. You wake up, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know this story. You wake up, especially Black families, it's time to clean. You know what I mean? We did a whole week of whatever. Now let's get this place back in tip-top condition. Everybody's home. Nobody's going outside till it's all done. You know what I'm saying? And while that was going on, music was popping. So
yeah,
that was the whole thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I soaked all of that up. Soaked a lot of it up.
And as far as when hip hop came around, do you remember the one of the first songs that you heard that on the radio that blew you away?
I think we were privy to hear a lot of them at one time, but I think the very first one was Soul Sonic Force. Africa Bambaataa in them, and that was like one of the first that I was really, really digging. And from there, it just became a slew of different records, Sucker MCs. They came out, Run DMC, and that's when I really started getting into it, because it was like, okay, I'm about 16 now. You know what I mean? 15. Okay, this is what's going on. You watching the streets. You seeing everybody starting to move like the rappers in their videos. So that's how I really started getting into it. And then from there, it was really listening to the hip hop that was out and wanting to break dance. So that was really what started after just hearing the music. It was breakdancing.
Yeah.
And then now you're in the streets, you're running around with breakdance crews. Somebody in the crew got a bomber or got a can of spray paint. Now it's tagging. Yeah. You know what I mean? So now we want to write graffiti. So those are some of the things that led up to me becoming an artist, myself.
Yeah.
We ran around with the likes of all kinds, all kind of different nationalities, white, black, Puerto Rican, and everybody was just so caught up into the whole b-boy hip hop, who got the best dance moves, who got the best tags, and who brought in the best tape today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Off of something that they recorded, and songs that we never heard, and it was things like that. So that's where the whole interest peaked at.
Yeah. Isn't it wild how, looking back on that, we didn't know that was hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It was just something that we were just enjoying, and it didn't have a name per se. Exactly. And just like you said, you were involved in all of that stuff, not knowing that you was, a part of the culture.
That's the culture.
Yeah. Cause I probably was younger than, I probably was in my maybe around 10 or 11 around that time. But I remember the block parties right before school starting up for the school year. I remember the cats breaking out the cardboards and doing the break dancing and all of that. And like you said, tagging and all that. And it didn't dawn on me that this is the hip hop culture. It was just,
that was the culture.
It was just everyday life. And I wouldn't trade that in for anything in the world right now, as far as where we at now, man. Cause I don't know of anything that big that has happened for our culture since then. You know what I mean?
I really can't call it. It was a breath of fresh air. I don't know how many people, paid attention, but the latest versus battle.
Oh, well, yeah.
With KRS and Kane, they put on a display of the hip hop culture. You understand what I'm saying? Like that was a show in its entirety that captivated what hip hop really, really, was what hip hop really is supposed to be. So, you got your MCs, you got your DJs, then you got your break dances, then you got your little rivalry going back and forth between the DJs, all friendly, of course.
Yeah.
But the camaraderie or the competition, the competitiveness, all of that was displayed. There was two different groups of break dances. Kane brought out one, then and KRS brought out one. So, it just shows, how we were really, really living back then.
Yeah, they definitely took it to another level from when the Locks and Dipset did theirs, where the Locks were kind of showing as far as how to be an MC, how to rock a crowd. You know what I mean? So it was dope. It was dope for the OGs, Kane and
they brought
KRS.
It all, the whole culture.
They showed the whole culture what it was. Definitely put it on display. So it was definitely dope.
Even some of the beats they was rhyming over, like break beats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those. That's what everybody was dancing to. You know what I'm saying? Then it turned into, we could rhyme over these too. You know what I'm saying?
Now they call them what, loops is what they call them now.
Loops. That's
it. So coming up, man. Obviously I know you were probably a record collector too, right? When you really got into the music and collection, did you do any DJing or anything like that, or were you just music? Okay.
There you go. Another part of it. That was another part of. Right before I started rhyming, it was about DJing, and from DJing, rhyming, back to DJing, from DJing to producer. You see what I'm saying? This is all. It was all inclusive. It was all part of the process.
Yeah, and how far along did you get into it where you wanted to start writing? Were you always a writer, or did it kind of just hit you one day like, man, I think I can do this?
I was a real school kid. So writing, I used to write for school. I used to write, the school paper. I had articles in the city newspaper. You know what I mean? So writing, I was always into it. I was very articulate. And poetry classes and stuff like that. So, once you started listening to these rappers coming out and how they were putting their words together and so forth, I felt that I could do the same thing. And then especially, music was already accessible. So finding a beat or a loop or whatever was easy for me. You know what I mean? And so I started writing.
Yeah.
And then when I realized that I did have a gift, with writing, that became, my next passion, to fully, proceed with.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up meeting, my fellow partner, Cool Kim. And that's how we invented we formed the group UMCs, both excellent writers and rappers. And we came from the same borough. We were somewhat competitive at first, well, rather people wanted to put us together, to pit us together at first, what I mean, against each other. And then we realized, hey, it'll work out better if we just, formulate and unify and do it together. So that's how that all started. And
Now,
yeah,
did you guys have different names prior to going right before you were signed? Did you have like a weird
yeah,
name?
yeah, we did. Man, my first name was, it's weird, but I don't even know what made me think. Oh, because it was part of my tag. So it was Cezalah, Ceazellah.
Okay.
And I look back at it now, it's like, that was corny. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was a different name. The crew wasn't even UMCs, it was MI3, Mission Impossible 3,
Okay.
me, Kim, the DJ. But those were the appropriate names back then. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
You think we got that? We got that old MI3. We got some old tapes out there that maybe circulating
oh yeah,
still.
they circulating. Those were the block tapes. Those were the first demos. You know what I mean? When you was trying to perfect your craft, as soon as you walk out the studio, boom, you hitting the block with it. Let everybody hear it, play it. Some will take it, dub it. You know what I mean? Pass them around. And I must admit, even those demos back then were, they were kind of fly. At least everybody, who starts out always thinks their stuff is fly. But I mean, we made enough noise to, you know what I mean, to get the crowd, you know what I'm saying, hyped up and excited.
Yeah. So you guys coming up out of Staten Island, which is for those who may not be familiar with New York City. Staten Island, I always say Staten Island and the Bronx are always the forgotten, boroughs and the forgotten parts of New York, just because of the way that they're geographically placed. Did you guys feel isolated as far as being connected to the rest of the boroughs and the cities?
Definitely. We were isolated, nobody ever called out, yo, is Staten Island in the house? You always hear, yo, is Brooklyn in the house? Uptown in the house, you know what I'm saying? And we as Staten Islanders, and I put myself in that category because it wasn't until I moved to Staten Island that I really started getting involved into my, my music passion. So I'm originally from Brooklyn. And which a lot of people that lived in Staten Island were from different boroughs, you know what I mean? So Staten Island was made up of a collection of, people from a whole bunch of different boroughs. So by the time I moved out there and really started getting into it, going to school out there and all of that, of course, I'm representing Staten Island as well.
Yeah.
And but the difference with me is, since I was from Brooklyn, my beacon always pulled me back to Brooklyn, or across the water, as we used to call it. Yo, I'm going across the water. So that brings us back to Manhattan. That brings us back to Brooklyn, Queens. We always back on that side. And what we would do, the way I used to, put it in terms was, I'm going out to scout. You know what I'm saying? I'm going out to see what's going on. And I know this is where I rest my head at in Staten Island, but, it ain't going to come to us. We got to get out there and go find it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's actually similar to how I operate the show and everything. Like, I live here in Dallas, but like you, I tell people I just pay taxes here. I really don't. doing too much business and
Yeah,
stuff out here. I like to move around and go to
move
other
around.
cities and that stuff. So I definitely can agree with that, man.
You gotta
So
scope. You gotta scope out what's happening, man. And that and closed mouths don't get fed, and you know what I mean. All of that stuff applies. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna just sit still here and wait for it to come.
mhm,
So we was already fishing. We was jetting off that island every minute we had a chance to, and
absolutely.
it brought us to the point where you're not gonna see Gangstar or EPMD or Rakim hanging out on Staten Island.
Mhm,
But if we get off the island and go into Manhattan, that's where you're going to see everybody at.
mhm,
You understand what I'm
mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's where the clubs are. That's where the parties are. That's where the events are. That's where they're shooting videos at.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
we had to get off the island in order to get into the mix of what was
Absolutely.
going on.
Absolutely. So after you and Cool Kim formed and took the craft and sharpened your swords and everything like that, how long before you guys got signed? Because it was with what, Wild Pitch, I believe, is when you
Yeah,
guys got signed. How
definitely.
far into that before you guys got signed?
I would say we was, sharpening our swords and making sure our craft was up to par for at least, I want to say, about 5 years prior to getting signed,
Okay. All right.
which included doing studio, doing demos, doing shows,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, uh, uh, being seen in videos. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was a whole lot.
Yeah, this was
We
like
had,
this was the organic artist development back in the day, where
yeah,
you
yeah,
just had to be
yeah.
seen and you had to be heard any way that you could.
Yeah, I mean, we got a bunch of sneakers where the soles are worn down. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was definitely running around, and didn't want to sit still for a moment,
Mm,
because every opportunity, that presented itself, we had to jump on it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because you never know what could happen off of, you know what I mean, off of making your approach towards that
Yeah,
opportunity.
yeah.
So
And for those who out there listening, Wild Pitch Records back in the day had a lot of dope hip hop acts. Who's some of your label mates that you could think of on top of your head, just that roster?
Wild Pitch's roster was very, very dope at that time. So I mean, that was considered the golden era of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
So Wild Pitch was, a independent label, that had an ear. So Wild Pitch started off with, Gangstar.
Mm,
They had Chill Rob G. Um, they had Lord Finesse.
mm,
There was a female named Entice.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
they had Main Source. They also had UMCs. Um, and there was a few more there, but Wild Pitch's roster was so dope at the time that they caught the attention of a major, which was
Mm-hmm.
EMI.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, that was supposed to be, the thing that took us way up, but
Mm-hmm.
instead it took the label way up, and we was just
Yeah.
sitting like, you know what I mean?
This is
So
when the waters always get muddied for a lot of acts,
yeah,
when it's a lot of
man.
merges and they become conglomerates where a lot of people
And they
get left
forget what
off.
started it all, or
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
you can't forget that, they took notice to you because you had all these dope artists, you
mm-hmm,
know what I'm saying? And
mm-hmm,
all these artists contributed to you being discovered as an indie label,
mm-hmm.
and it should work vice versa. If you're discovered, now we should be discovered on a level where we could share in breaking bread. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so we started off with, a couple of G's to do an album, but now we should be getting more. You caught a good deal, you know what I'm saying? So
Uh-huh.
some of that should trickle down to us too.
Yeah,
But
obviously, yeah. That's probably one of my favorite times as far as just music and hip hop music, because like you said, you had those indie labels like Wild Pitch and Loud and
Next Plateau,
Raucous, and just it was
Raw.
just so many dope acts out there that had a home and it had that street feel to it. You know what I'm saying? And like we just said, you know,
A
when
lot of the execs heard cha-ching, took the money and ran. Like,
yeah,
or
yeah, they couldn't just leave well enough alone. They couldn't just, you know,
continue, let it build and grow even more. Nah,
just,
they saw
just
that first.
yeah, just put the money on, just put the money on the fire and flame it some more. That's all they had to do.
Yeah, man. So that was part of not break up as a group, but that was, part of not wanting to really, really deal with the industry, or, we had to pull away for a little bit at that. Once we were signed and we saw that they caught this big deal and we did all this work and we traveled around the world, we did mad shows, we blew up on that level, out in the public, we got our good fair share run. But when it came, to behind closed doors and the boardroom meetings and the table and, what's the allotted budget that we're going to give, none of that was fair. You know what I'm saying?
So it wasn't a personal situation. It was strictly like a kind of like a business situation that you guys had to kind of step to the side for a little bit.
Shoot, if like I know, it was business turned personal.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
all right.
Yeah.
You eating, I should be able to eat as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
If you're not letting me eat, now it's personal.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So when you guys dropped that debut album and like you said, doing the tours and going overseas and all of that kind of stuff, how did it feel? What was that feeling like for you personally, as far as that accomplishment?
That's exactly what it was, an accomplishment. I'm like one of the first in my family to travel overseas. I mean, except if you want to call my father out for fighting in the war, or you know what I mean, being a veteran.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was the first one to really, really travel overseas at my leisure, and make money, and eat things that I never heard of. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good feeling because we're young, and we're able to do this. We're watching the reactions of our family and friends. Everybody's happy for us, and it was a milestone we covered. We did something that a lot of our peers and family members didn't do.
Yeah.
So, that was a great accomplishment.
And what does that international fan look like when you guys are performing? How much energy do they give you guys when you was on stage?
Man, see, they're not privy to it every day. It's not in their face every second. So by the time we hit the stage and we are in their face, the excitement is so over, it's just overwhelming. Like, they go nuts, they go crazy. You understand what I'm saying? So the same way the Beatles came here and they had a whole fan base waiting for them and, greeting them off the planes and all of that. We had some of that too. I ain't gonna lie. We had some of that. It wasn't as extensive as the Beatles, but as soon as we got off the plane, we had the hotels are booked, the limos are out there. The promoters are taking us all over the place. People are expecting us to come out. People are ready for the shows. We hit radio. We do all the radio while we out in the area. Do in stores. You know what I mean? You got crowds at the in stores waiting for us to come and sign autographs. And, it was real exciting time. Very exciting.
Now, from a business aspect, when you look back on all of that kind of stuff, do you say to yourself like, man, that's probably what they was getting us to on the business side? Because you know how the labels do, they do all that stuff for you, but when you see that, you get that invoice or you get that you go through your audits, you be like, wait a minute, I know damn well it didn't cost no $10,000 for that kind of stuff.
That smoke and mirrors. The cloud, they cloud you up so you don't get to see what's really going on.
But moving the money around, right?
Yeah, keeping us happy. That's the whole thing. We was more happy than business savvy.
Absolutely.
And that's where that's where it goes wrong at.
Yeah.
But all things happen for its own reasons. You know what I mean? And no matter what, life is a journey where you continuously learn. Even to today, this day, I'm still learning. You're still learning. And those are some of the lessons that you go through. Those are some of the lessons that you got to bear in order to be better at what you do or at what you're trying to accomplish, you know, you got to go through those learning lessons.
Yeah, yeah. So after UMCs kind of take a break, and you're kind of, as an individual, kind of getting it together. Um, how long after that did you go full time into production mode and switch over to Fantom? When did that start happening?
That took a little while, because just the you know, the repercussions or the blows that we took from, you know, not getting as far as we wanted to get as artists, it left a damper, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna say a full-blown out case of depression, but it was just like, I don't want to be bothered, you know, I went to school to be an electrician. So, you know, I was good, you know, with still making money, you know what I'm saying? And taking care of my family or whatever. So, you know, I stayed with that for a good while. You know, I did, you know, school, college, all of that, you know, a couple of years, and worked as an electrician. And one day, I always stayed in tune with my music though, as a producer. So for any of y'all who don't know, I was, you know, one of the producers on our first albums. So, you know, we was producing our own selves.
Yeah.
So, you know, when we took that little hiatus, I was still making beats, you know, I was still producing. I had my setup. It just wasn't as intense because, you know, you come home from working a regular 9 to 5 or whatever, you beat, you're tired, you gotta, you know, figure out when you could squeeze it in. And, you know, I kept up with it. And I don't know, it was just one day it just started hitting me again. Like, I'm listening to the new records that are out and I'm like, I think I could get that. You know what I'm saying? I think I could do something if I come through as a producer now. So let me just rearrange, you know, my thoughts. Let me figure out this plan. Let me reinvent myself from, you know, all right, y'all know me as Haas G, but, you know, I'm getting ready to change the whole scope. I'm getting ready to change the whole setting. My name is Fantom now, right? And I got heat. So I just started pitching, you know. I still had a lot of contacts because I was a UMCs. And those contacts, you know, I mean, all the way from your LONS, Busta, your Ghostface, your whoever, your Salt and Peppers, all the artists that we toured with, traveled with, you Naughty by Natures, all of them, you know, we still had real good connections, you know. And so it was way easier for me to solicit music, you know. You know, they had a lot of appreciation for the first albums that we did. They knew that we produced it. So, all right, what's different? All right, he's not rhyming no more, but if he got heat, you know, we're not going to dispute that, you know? And that's what made it easier for me to jump back in the game as a producer.
Yeah, yeah. So, you got one of the hot placements on Ghostface's album, the Supreme Clientele, the Apollo Kids joint.
Yep.
Ooh, how did that one come about? Was that just you pitching it kind of thing, and it came through?
Well, prior to that, Ghost and I, we all lived in the same building. So that was years of coming up together. Even before, you know, Wu came out, UMCs was already on their way doing their thing, while Ghost and them was still getting geared up and setting up. You know what I mean? So by the time UMC stopped and I became a producer and I'm working and all of that, I'm actually working in the EMI building, which is so ironic. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm working in the building that was my label.
Yeah.
But now I'm an electrician. That was, oh God, that was the corniest moment, my G, serious. I can't even.
That's one of those Lifetime movie moments.
I'm like, damn it. And I'm watching artists back and forth. And every once in a while somebody will recognize me.
Yeah.
The only thing is, even though I got on my construction gear and my Timbs, and I'm walking around as an electrician.
Yeah.
So you say the wrong thing, I'll turn all your lights out. You understand what I'm saying? Don't play with me.
Yeah.
I know how to take power, give power, just chill.
Yeah.
But so I ran into a couple people every so often, and they was like, I'm glad you're still around, yo. Don't let, whatever happened, get at you. You looking good, this, that, and third. I was like, nah, I'm straight, man. I'm cool. Mm-hmm. So one day I'm walking out the building of the EMI building, and there's a couple of limos out front and all of that. The execs be in and out, artists be in and out. And I hear my name, yo Haas. And it's Ghost in the car. But mind you, we ain't see each other in a couple because we've been moving around. Everybody's been doing their own thing. And that's what it was. Now, at that point in time, I always carried a cassette tape with me because I never knew who I would run into. And I'm working in the city and I'm working around people. I put a cassette tape together with beats on it, about 5-6 beats. And, it was just to, pass off in case I ran into somebody.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that's who I ran into. And I gave him the cassette. And that was that. I ain't hear from him for about 3 months. And next thing you know, he's calling me to come into the studio. And he's like, yo, we laid that joint off that tape you gave me. I was like, which one? Like, damn, you could have let me know before that. So him and Ray, they already spit the lyrics and everything. So I was supposed to come in and mix, handle the business, you know what I mean? And, get paid and have a single.
Yeah.
It's going to be my single. And mind you, that's when Ghost just came home.
It just came home, yeah.
It was locked. So, I caught the first single for Supreme Clientele.
Nice.
And that you couldn't have asked for better than that.
Yeah.
And so to me, the stars were starting to line up. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I got that. Let me go for another one.
Yeah.
I caught up with Busta, and all right, I got another one. Okay. Let me keep, what? I'm gonna keep going, but I'm gonna have to really, really fully get involved now. So, I actually quit. I quit working and I got really, really into it. You know what I'm saying? And since then, it just been, it has its ups and downs. The market is real shaky. You hot one moment, then you're not, and then your whole style comes back around again after a few years. And but the goal is to place as many records as you can. Get some good royalties, get some good publishing. You know what I mean, and continue to the fight, strong fight. You know what I'm saying?
Now, business-wise, isn't that always one of the advantages of being a producer? Is because you can get a lot of placements out there in different times where if you're an artist, like you said, it's shaky, you know what I mean? So especially in these times, if you say the wrong thing or you do something crazy, you'll get benched, you know what I'm saying? So you may not be able to get those features that the labels won't clear and all that. But as a producer, you can kind of move in the backgrounds a little bit more to get those placements. So is that, to you, is that kind of like the fun route as far as still kind of being active in the industry, but not really as active, where you got to do the political stuff like an artist?
I mean, you put it this way, at I don't know, 45, 50, 55, you can't be running all over the stage as an artist, a hip hop artist, mind you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they can do it, but I'm saying it's not as comfortable as being a producer and just producing records for the flyest up and coming, or different genres of music, and you don't even have to touch a stage. Your stage is a studio. You know what I mean? You could produce as long as you got hit records. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Quincy is still, the man, like, he got old in the game, and he's still relevant because he's the producer. He's the one who provides you with the the soundscape. You know what I'm saying? So I felt it was a better transition for myself, and business is I'd like to say more lucrative, as a producer.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So if you compare the two tracks, the big tracks that everybody's always brings up, the Apollo Kids joint, the Magic Stick joint that Lil Kim and 50 did. Um, that's two different sets of fans, right? You got people know Ghost, but the real heads, they mess with Ghost regardless. You know what I'm saying? But that Magic Stick has that FM radio feel, and it's all over the place. When you sit back and kind of looking at these way these two records are moving, how you feeling about that? Hearing Lil Kim and 50 on the joint on something that you produce.
It was inspiring. You know what I mean? It was a great achievement. And my track record started out really, really well, if I have to say so myself.
Absolutely.
And these are before I was known as a producer. I banged out 3 really, really powerful records with, with four powerful artists. So I'm getting on my production stuff now. So I banged out 3 records with 4 powerful artists back to back to back. You know what I mean? That's how I hit. So when Magic Stick came out, that was the third one. They always say 3 is the charm. So now you got Busta Rhymes, on his album Extinction Level Event with Janet Jackson on that album. That's a platinum for me. You got Ghost, you know what I mean? That's a gold for me. And then you got 50 Cent and Lil Kim, you know what I mean? That's another plat. So it's like, that was a good progression. And each record served its own purpose. Ghost's record was mad street. So I caught mad street love. Everybody know I could do those kind of beats. Busta is mad radio, mad what was it called? MTV out in Florida. Spring the spring thing.
Spring break thing, yeah.
Yeah. They was playing that record all day long. You know what I mean? And then here you come with the top female and the top male artists at the time, you know what I mean, on Magic Stick, which catapulted me even further, you know what I'm saying? FM radio, commercial, movies, video games, whatever you call, it was there.
Yeah.
So, and that's not the end of it. Like you said, it's what I'm renowned for. But there's so much more that happened after that, and it's still happening now.
Absolutely. Yeah. You just recently dropped a project too. We featured here on the show. Your compilation joint that's still, I still bang that Flags joint, by the way.
Oh, good looking. Good looking.
Still bang that joint. And now you're coming into your own as doing your thing now. So how you feeling now as far as production wise and moving around?
It's great to make beats, and produce, but I think the evolution of all of that is the next level of being a executive. So, I know enough about this music. I know enough about the game. I know enough about production. I know enough about artistry. So my next step is being an executive. So, pushing the buttons, pulling everything that I need, together and getting product out there, for the world to listen to feel. And it's a process, but I feel good about it. Like you said, a couple of years back, I just dropped a compilation album. So that was me beginning to set forth my identity as, Fantom of the Beat, Fantom Music, Fantom the Executive, So in doing that, I pulled together, different artists and got them all on one record and on one album, rather. And, I mix genres, a little bit of reggae, a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of R&B. This is to show forth that, I have enough sense to know how to, run a situation, pull artists together, pull producers together. And that was the start of me being executive.
Yeah.
So,
and another example of that here recently, as far as that executives and pushing the buttons, is I know Snooze Daily, the homie, had him on the show. Ron Recca.
These are all artists that I started working with.
Exactly. Catherine Swain. You know what I'm saying? I like that joint.
Thank you.
Who else you got on there? I know a lot of it's been a lot of people coming through, man. And Fantom's name always comes up, and I'm just like, this guy right here, man.
I'm working, brother. I'm working. You know, you just got to find your lane in this game. You know what I mean? There's so much going on right now, and I don't profess to be the end all, that be all, but I know that I got something to offer. I'll find my niche, and I'll develop what makes me comfortable. I'll deal with the artists that make me comfortable. There's a whole new world of artists out there right now. And me personally, I don't feel that I'm not able to do anything when it comes to music. I just have a certain, liking or a certain preference of music, and I still believe in what I believe in. I'm not too fond of everything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
And which a lot of parents shouldn't be fond of everything that's going on right now.
Absolutely.
When we started, you could listen to just about everything that came out. It didn't start getting crazy and vulgar until probably, I want to say the mid to later 90s. That's when, you had a whole bunch of slip-ins of negativity going on, but it is what it is.
Now it's like the Wild Wild West now, musically right now.
Right now, I can't even fathom how kids are even allowed to listen to radio.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying? I just can't.
Yeah.
Because the things that are being said and spoken to, people don't understand. All of that is reflective energy. You know what I mean? What kids hear and listen to, they're gonna hear it, they're gonna repeat it, they're gonna act it out, what they see. It's like, and look at the food that we giving them. Come on, man. And I don't understand how it's really, really, the powers that be are just really allowing it. Like there's no detriment. Like there's nothing that's gonna, nothing bad is gonna come out of this. So, I choose to stay in a certain lane where, positivity is my lane. And I don't mean positivity where, I'm gonna school you out every second that I get, or preach, or what I'm saying, just good fun music. People love to dance. You make some good dance music. People love to hear lyrics. MCs want to hear lyrics. That what's going on right now isn't MCing. Trust me when I tell you, a lot of it is not MCing. A lot of it is just a lot of repeating the same four bars. You know what I'm saying? And I don't hear the lessons taught in the songs no more, the way it used to be. And I'm not downplaying any of it. I'm just saying there's still a lane for certain things,
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember coming up, I used to get in trouble for the cursing, but it was me listening to KRS and Public Enemy and, say Ice Cube and stuff like that. So it was always a message in it. It was just like, does he have to curse so much?
Everyone, yeah, basically.
But it wasn't that bad because moms knew it was a message in it. She was just like, maybe we could tone that down a little bit. So that was back then. Now, like you said,
we went from saying crack is whack to saying let's pop a pill or two.
Yeah. You
understand what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I promoting drugs now. Really?
Yeah. It goes with the internet thing that they show is like, our generation sold drugs and your generation takes the drugs and all that.
Right.
Kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So it's just wild, man. But like I said, man, I definitely appreciate you coming through and doing this with us, man. And
always.
You already know, man. Oh, shout out to Pop the Brown Hornet too. I forgot to name him earlier.
Yeah.
One of the artists you work with, man. Social media. What's the best way we can follow what's going on with Fantom of the Beat right now?
Best way you catch me on Facebook is FOTB_Fantom. and people out there just realize Fantom is with an F, not a PH. Let's get it together. So FOTB_Fantom. On Instagram is Fantom of the Beat. So that's Fantom_of_THE_BEAT. And other than that, you know, I'm UMCs to the end all day long. You know what I mean?
You guys dropped a single video recently too.
Yeah, a little while ago we did. That was just testing the waters. You know what I mean? So I'm never gonna say that we won't put an album together, you know what I mean, and come back with something fresh and new. But you know, we just test the waters here and there, you know, keep hope alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Keep us in the mix.
Yeah.
UMCs, you Google all day. Haas G, you Google all day. But that's where Fantom comes from, you know.
And musically, what are we promoting right now? We mentioned some of the artists, but who we promote now? Who we pushing?
Well, all those artists, I got something on all of them. You know, I got a piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces. You know, a couple of them are actually signed to me. My latest project right now is Catherine Swain. You know, she's from Ohio, talented singer. And, you know, we just dropped a record called Make Up Your Mind, which is doing really, really good. And it's a step beyond what, you know, people know me for. So a lot of people know me, you know, just strictly hip hop, which, you know, I can understand that, but you know, R&B, I delve in it too. And that's what Catherine's record is about. You'll still feel hints of some hip hop in it. You know what I mean? Some soul, rather.
And we need that balance too, right? Like we need that balance of traditional R&B sound to it. We need that balance now, just because a lot of R&B cats are rap cats now. So we need
I don't know the difference between the records right now. R&B record or the hip hop record?
Yeah,
you know, I can't.
Exactly.
But yeah, Catherine's record really stands out as a nice soul record, and you know, it has that appeal.
There we go, man. Well, I definitely appreciate your time, man. And like I said, whenever we head up to New York here in a little bit, I'm gonna definitely reach out, and then I got some merch I gotta give to you. So
definitely,
I'll get that information from you off air. You want to shout out anybody before we get out of here?
You know, the usual suspects, MJ, my whole entire team, Rekka, Remy, Catherine Swain, Snooze Daily, definitely your platform, the Mixtape Show. You know, we need platforms like this because, you know, a lot of people could get lost in the sauce. You know how it go. You know, if you're not seen or heard, you know, people don't know what's going on, you know. Absolutely. And your platform is one of those that keeps everybody abreast and, you know, aware. So definitely shout out to you guys. And yeah, family, friends, supporters.
There we go. Fantom of the Beat, Mixtape Show interview with the legends, man. I appreciate you doing this one with us. And you already know, whenever that new stuff comes through, send it on through, brother. We got you.
Definitely go check out that Catherine Swain record. Make Up Your Mind. It's all over the place. So
there we go.
Can't miss it.
All right. We'll be right back, man.
Peace.